Hi guys, today we will be introducing a new software program called SPSS, which is a statistical software program that produces all of the inferential statistics outputs that we want to produce from our data. And we're going to use a very simple example data set, and today all we're going to learn is how to input some data, how to make sure that the program knows what kind of data they are, and some very simple descriptive statistics. Okay, this is the data that we're going to use. As you can see, I've currently got that in SPSS, and I will show you how to transfer that into, I've got that in Excel, and I'm going to show you how to transfer that into SPSS. SPSS on my computer is down here in the taskbar. That's the icon for it. You probably won't have it on the icon, so if you just type into your Cortana search field SPSS, this is the one you want to use. Okay, so it's IBM SPSS Statistics 25. So we're going to launch that. While that's loading, and that can take a little while, especially on the college computers, we're just quickly going to have a recap on how we set up data in order to do any calculations with. And in this Excel sheet, for example, we have 4 different types of variables in these different columns. We have the name, the height, and the foot size of several people, and also their sex, whether they're male or female. And in the rows, we've got the different people that we collected all that data for. Okay, so we have Tom, Dick, Harry, George, and Larry, so those are 5 guys. And then we also have 5 girls here. Okay, and we have their heights and their foot sizes, and we're going to do some really simple descriptive statistics with that in SPSS. Okay, so once this has launched, this is what you're going to see. And the first thing you need to do is just to select saying that you want to create a new data set, unless you've already created one recently and then you've got like a history here of things that you've created recently. So I'm going to click on new data set, and you can either double click or you can select open. And then this is a couple of things that will open here. One is an output file. That will display all of the things that you do. If you calculate any descriptive statistics, this is where you'll find them. And then the other window that you have is your actual data window. Now there are 2 things to the data window in SPSS. There are 2 different ways of viewing these data windows. At the moment you have the data view open, and that's essentially where you will input all of your data, where you will see it in its raw form. And then you also have the variable view, which looks slightly different. And actually this is where you tell SPSS what the properties of your data are. You can toggle between these views at any point. Usually you will just set everything up once in your variable view, and then you'll be staying on the data view for the rest of the time. The other thing you have here is several a taskbar here with several options. For example, analyze and graphs, and transform and data, and you can do things like saving and exporting data as well. So those are all of your different options. So what we need to do now is we need to bring our data into this program so we can calculate some descriptive statistics with it. As I said earlier, I've got this set up in Excel at the moment, and I can simply copy and paste from Excel into SPSS. However, I have to be very careful what I actually copy into SPSS, because SPSS does not really deal with words as in text like this very well. And it will automatically allocate a property to anything that has written letters in it, which is called a string. So it'll basically say, this is just a string of characters, this has nothing numerical, there's nothing else I can do with this, it's just a description of something, like someone's name. So the only time you'll ever copy an actual name into SPSS if it's really just the name of a person, and you don't want to do anything with that except for identifying your individual, your subject. Everything else has to be in a number. Now currently, obviously, height and foot size are already in numbers, but we have this back here, the sex of people, which we want to use later on for descriptive statistics, is still in terms of M and F, M for male and F for female. So in order to get this into SPSS, we need to change that into a number. You should always do that. If you have any nominal variables like this, you should always have a key for them instead of using the actual sort of words that you've used to describe the categories. This also actually enables you to make sure that you're not typing anything different. For example, if you were typing male instead of just using M, and for it you had loads and loads of rows of data, and sometimes you do this and have, for example, lower caps M at the front and then a higher cap and upper caps. In other cases, then SPSS will already see these as two different things. So the best thing to do is to use numbers instead of words, because you're less likely to make a mistake. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 1 for male and 2 for female. Okay, so I'm just going to change this here. 1 for male, 2 for female, and you should do the same. And then what we're going to do is copy everything except for the headers of our different variables, because these are still in names, and there's a different way of inputting the names for your variables in SPSS rather than just copying them into the data view. So what we need to do is select all of these cells here, okay, and then we copy. So whenever you do use Excel to copy and paste data, you have to do it like this. Okay, so you have to exclude the headers at the top here. And now we're going to throw this into our data view. Make sure that you have the data view selected down here. And we're going to just select the first cell here and just copy, and I'm using Control and V for paste, or you can also right click and paste as well. Okay, so now we have all this data in here, and the next step will be to define the properties of these different variables, and I will show you how to do that in the next video.